Morning. I have retrospectively filmed this intro after doing all the footage driving about, so excuse the sweatiness, it's very hot in the car, and I just want to cover what I might have not said while I was driving around and static wise, in case the wind noise was terrible. So what we're going to do in this video is compare what the drive is like in an Allegro compared to the Maestro, with the Maestro replacing the Allegro. If you'd have upgraded in '83 from a Series 3 Allegro to a early Maestro, this will give you some idea of what you're actually getting for your money. My belief is the suspension took a downward turn, although I've had a lot of grief with my Hydrograss suspension. When it works, it's a lovely, comfortable ride, and I do think the Maestro suffers with harshness due to cost cutting and going to springs and shock absorbers. So it's just a bit of fun. It's not scientific, it's not technical, it's not meant to offend Maestro drivers or Allegro drivers. It's just a bit of fun for the channel. Some footage, because obviously there's not much tinkering going on as there was, and I'm just trying to put something out there to entertain people. So it's a bit of footage of the two cars driving around. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, show you the different driving controls, and see what you think. Let me know if you like the video, like and subscribe, give me a comment. I always like the feedback, and I'll see you later. So what I'm trying to compare is how the Allegro and the Maestro handle compared to each other, rather than performance wise. Maestro being a diesel, Allegro being a petrol, different horsepower, different generation of cars. But the Maestro replaced the Allegro, so if you were upgrading from the Allegro, you'd like to think that you were getting a more comfortable drive. I don't believe that to be the case. I believe it was done for cost cutting measures, to convert into springs and shock absorbers from the Hydrogas. Let's see what we think on a test drive. So one of the big things that irritates me with the Maestro as a daily is the poor layout of the switchgear. If you're in the dead ahead position driving along as you normally would be, the indicators and the lights are all pretty accessible. The horn's on a push on the end, no problem with that. Wipers, it's all in a standard position. Hazard warning lights. The problem you've got is in the centre here, you've got your heated rear screen and your rear fog light. Not got a problem with that. However, you don't use them very often. You do use your heaters and your controls, which you cannot see. They're down there. They're obscured by either your knee or the steering wheel, and you genuinely have to feel for the fan control and the heater control, or take your eyes off the road to bend down and see. Also, the other side, the rear wash wipe and the rear squirter. Now, why wouldn't you put something you didn't use very often, and especially didn't use while moving, here where you can't see and here where you can't see, as opposed to here? Heated screen, you usually turn that on in the night, in the morning. You don't turn it on when you're driving, so why is it there? You turn your wipers on while you're driving, so why can't you see them? I just think it's a badly laid out design in the Maestro. The clocks and everything, they're as good as they can be. It's poverty spec. You've got a speedo, a trip meter, temperature and fuel. You don't need anything else, and you've got a clock. All good. But yeah, that just irritates me with it. You'll find the only part of a Rover Maestro to carry the word Rover is the radio. You will not find the word Rover on the outside of this car at all. Don't know why that is, whether when they went from being an Austin Maestro to a Rover Maestro, the brand was just damaged or whatever, but yeah, it's strange how you don't see any Rover branding on this. This was just branded as a Maestro. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you news from the stupid video man. That's me. I just realised as I'm editing this video together that I didn't do any talking while I was driving the Maestro. So I've got no footage of myself going, I'm driving along the road now and it's really bouncy and the suspension's crap compared to the Allegro. What a big pile of poo, etc, etc. So for entertainment value only, yeah, this is really bouncy. Oh, the Allegro is much more comfortable than this. Haha, nobody will ever know that I'm not driving the car. Normal transmission resumed. So we're now in the driving seat of the Allegro. For me, the simplicity is what I like about it. Everything is straight ahead of the driver. Fuel gauge, speedo, would be a clock there if it wasn't poverty spec, or a rev counter if it was a 1500 or a 1750. And the temperature gauge. The only thing that annoys me with this car is there's no trip meter, which annoys me more because my fuel gauge is temperamental. In front you've got the wipers and the indicators, but they are on the what we'll call the wrong side. Irritates me in this car because I'm forever turning the wipers on when I want to indicate, but that was just what they were like years ago. And then, as I was complaining in the Maestro about how things are set out, I think everything's perfect in this really. Everything's by your fingers, and then to the side there you've got your heated screen and your lights, your hazard warnings, and that's just a brake check. Heaters straight in front of you. Couldn't be easier. I do think that when they went to the Maestro, they overcomplicated it, possibly due to the thickness of the steering wheel, etc. But certainly for me, the Allegro is set out a lot better.
That doesn't smoke like the Maestro.
So driving the Allegro suspension wise compared to the Maestro, I drive this road every day on the way to work. It's quite a bumpy road, and this offset camber now really throws the Maestro about. Although the Allegro is quite rattly for an old car, the suspension is 10 times more comfortable, and certainly there's less roll into a bend. It's more sure-footed than the Maestro doing this particular route. I'm on a fairly bendy road. I say I know this road really well. I travel this way to work every day. I know how the Maestro handles down here. The Allegro feels a lot more comfortable. It's a lot bouncier, but you know, you can throw it into bends. It's like a little go-kart. I guess there's obviously a weight difference on, you know, we're not comparing like for like. I want to make that clear again. We're comparing the comfort difference between hydrogas suspension and McPherson struts and shock absorbers, which obviously were changed for cost. And also, let's face it, I've had my share of suspension problems with the Allegro. There's definitely a lot less to go wrong with standard springs and shock absorbers, but it's detrimental to the ride quality, there's no doubt about it. They always say it's like riding on a magic carpet in an Allegro with properly gassed suspension, and I would agree with that. Its comfort is amazing. So, after driving both cars, what's the verdict? Which one would I use to go on a journey? Difficult. I use the Maestro every day for work. I use the Allegro for fun. I like driving the Allegro, I like driving the Maestro. Which one would I go on a long journey on? That's the question. I think this is the answer. I'd probably use this one.